Hey guys, Bill Brower here with FMBA Nation. I wanted to take a minute to tell you about Servpro of Central Union County and Western Essex County. These guys are a trusted leader in the restoration industry. They provide 24-hour residential commercial services with highly trained restoration technicians. They're a locally owned and operated business, and they're dedicated to being faster to any size disaster with the training, equipment, and expertise to handle your restoration and cleaning needs. Some of the things that they cover are water damage restoration, fire damage restoration, mold remediation, storm damage restoration, cleaning services, and building services, to name a few. These guys understand the stress and worry that comes with a fire or water damage and the disruption it causes to your life and home or business, and their goal is to help minimize the interruption to your life and quickly make it like it never even happened. Our friends over there, Carl Spinner and Bob Morrison. Carl has over 25 years of experience in the industry. Bob Morrison has over 35 years of service industry sales experience. So don't hesitate to give them a call. You can reach them at 908-233-7070. This is Bill Brower with FMBA Nation coming to you from the 2020 NJ FMBA Educational Convention here at the Golden Nugget Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I've got the privilege and honor to be joined by Phil McMahon, who is a Vineland Local 49 firefighter and is also currently on the ballot for the PERS Pension Trustee rep position. Phil, thanks for taking a couple minutes to sit down and talk to me. Let's talk about this PERS election. Give us a little bit of background about you, and then let's talk a little bit about the election and what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, good morning, Bill. Thanks for having me this morning. So, again, as Bill had mentioned, I'm currently running for PERS Board of Trustees as a municipal representative. Just going a little bit about myself. My name is Phil McMahon. I'm asking for your consideration to be municipal employee representative on the Public Employees Retirement System Board of Trustees. I currently work as a career firefighter for City of Vineland. Due to my age restrictions upon hiring, I was enrolled in the PERS retirement system. Some of my assignments in Vineland include emergency medical technician, hazmat technician, technical rescue team, youth fire setter intervention specialist, critical incident stress management team member, New Jersey Forest Fire crew member C4, and Ready, Set, Go coordinator for Wildland Urban Interface. I'm very active in my state and local union, where I serve as vice president and convention delegate for the New Jersey Firefighters Mutual Benevolent Association Local Number 49. I am married to my beautiful wife, Michelle, of 21 years, and have twin 17-year-old daughters, Ireland and Aaron. If elected to the PERS board, I would be the first firefighter to sit as a trustee. Mm-hmm. I will be an effective voice for municipal employees throughout the state of New Jersey. My presence on the Board of Trustees will allow me to shed light on issues the Public Employees Retirement System faces, as well as offer ways to make PERS thrive. Mm-hmm. So again, as I said, I hail from Vineland.
Yeah.
As a firefighter. Mm-hmm. It's important to me, again, under me being hired through civil service testing, my age superseded the pension system, police and fire. Because being an exempt fireman for the state, it allowed me at least to enter pension system. So the least I can do is for myself, if this is my career choice, and try to make the pension system that I'm in better. As you know, firefighters and police have done nothing but try to make their police and fire system better. Mm-hmm. So that's my intentions.
Yeah.
Make it, and it's not for. I don't want anybody to believe it's just for firefighters. No, I'm in this for the firefighters, the EMTs, the dispatchers, the sanitation workers, the DPW personnel, teachers' aides. Because obviously we know the school system. If you're not an administrator or teacher, you're in PERS. Mm-hmm. I'm in it for everyone.
Right.
It's not just for me. It's again, I believe that the system can have a few changes and have a voice on there that may be better for the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know we talked about this earlier. What is interesting is you are one of two people on the ballot for the election, and neither one of you have sat on the PERS trustee board
That's
before, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And I'm open, and the opponent that I'm going to be balloting against, it is good, I think, for the pension system, because it's opening up a new door.
Yeah.
Should be a fresh beginning, at least on the municipal side. And in the future, like I said, what I was saying statistically, since 2010, since the pension reform has taken place, it's the same personnel on that board. I don't know what decisions they've made or what. I'm not sure what their stance was. I mean, I don't have the complete history on it, but it's, again, when I see what's happening to the tier ratings and where they stand now, I can only look back and see faces associated with the provisions that were put forward in the new tier structure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's important, I think, we've got, obviously, we represent over 5,000 career firefighters, EMTs, and dispatchers, and I think it's important for everyone in PERS to have the ability and the same, opportunities as the members of the PFRS have, in the moves that were made and trying to improve the health of the system. I mean, that's the end goal, is to improve the health of the system and to ensure that every member of PERS has the ability to receive a pension as their due. They put a lot of hard work and dedicate their lives to these careers, and they deserve everything that they're supposed to get.
Absolutely, absolutely. So which bill, if we can get into, I mean, I've done some research. It's purely off the state fact sheets. There's nothing hidden. It's all searchable.
Yeah.
And just to enlighten, I know this is predominantly for firefighters, but like you said, you have EMTs, dispatchers, and when this gets shared, it's not just going to hit that realm. It's going to hit others.
Yeah.
It's going to hit others. And, again, I'm standing for the municipal side, but at the end of the day, as my vote goes towards the state and county PERS employees as well, it's the same system. It's just different representatives. At the end of the day, is we vote on the same thing.
Right.
And again, I know when I went out for my nomination period and was meeting with different departments through, Cumberland, Atlantic, Salem, and Cape May counties, when I was talking to the employees, my name was out there. My business administrator had sponsored me, because, quite frankly, to have the voice in the South is big.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it was ironic when I go around and I'm talking to the employees, say, hey, you received the email, did you vote? It was quite astounding to me that the emails were just thrown in their junk file or put in the trash, because, quite frankly, they thought it was a union issue that I was up there seeking representation for. And, I had to clarify. I said, absolutely not. This has, I may be being sponsored. My union has I have their support. But I said, this is about the employee.
Right.
I said, this is about the end result. This is about you putting in your time and receiving that check at the end of your retirement. I mean, you give. At the end of the day, is you want to bear the fruits of your hard work and dedication.
Yeah.
And, that's what that's about, is I'm there making sure that fruit is still there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an important message to get across, and your hard work and getting the boots on the ground and getting those 300 nominations to get on the ballot is a testament to that, and it's very important, I think, for all of our members that are members of PERS, and for all the members of PERS that are not members of our association, to understand that that you're in this for that reason alone.
Right. After talking with the state after the nomination period was done, I was told that this is the first time in as many years as they can remember that, they've actually had the first go 2 candidates receive the 300 nominations. I know last year I missed my opportunity to get in on the nomination period, and it's the city where I'm from, and they wholeheartedly, because of title, I mean, were naive and believed I was in PFRS, so I never knew that there was a nomination period until it was too late.
Yeah.
But last year that went 3 times before someone finally got to 300 nominations, and I know myself and my opponent, out of the 700 votes cast, we each had to have 300, and there was 5 of us on there. So it's I'd like to congratulate my opponent that's going forward with me. That you're talking 700 votes, and we each had to have 300, and I think at the end of the day, as I had 308.
Yeah.
I can only say that the majority spoke. I mean, people didn't know too much about it, but the majority wanted us to, and here we'll move forward on March 30th, and we'll let the municipal employees decide, hey, do we move forward with a firefighter that throughout the course of his 24-hour platoon wears many hats and pretty much knows different job titles. I think so. I think we should. I mean, you know as well as I do, in our job, we're not just a firefighter.
No, jack of all trades.
And I've trained that way to be the ace of none. So
Yeah, let's talk about some of the facts, some of the research that you did, and pull some of those numbers up, so maybe someone listening can get some education on the system.
Okay, so again, when I was going around talking to get my nominations, I had spoke to both veteran employees that I'm talking have 20 plus years in the PERS pension system, as well as talking to ones that had less than a year that were just put in, just got into the PERS system. So I just went through the tier rating and just made sure that they knew that where they stood and what their benefits were, as far as what kind of retirements they were eligible for and what the age requirements were. So what I'm going to pull out, these are off the fact sheets from the state. So like I said, I'm going to give you factual information. There's nothing sugar-coated. This is factual information. So the tier structure and I'm going to go into TPAF because TPAF, the Teachers Pension Annuity Fund, it's in the same fact sheet as PERS.
Gotcha.
So what the teachers get is what we get.
Right.
And this is going to be found on fact sheet SC, so it's Sam Charlie 0853.
Okay.
So under an ordinary service retirement, which you met the full age and you had no minimum years required, so you pretty much met the age that the state wanted. So we have a 5-tier rating under PERS. So tier 1 was any employee that was enrolled in the system before July 1st, 2007. And the minimum age requirement that they wanted to do was age 60. Tier 2 was you had to be enrolled after 7/1, July 1st, 2007, and before November 2nd, 2008. And the minimum age they wanted for retirement was age 60. Tier 3, you had to be enrolled after November 2nd, 2008, and before May 21st, 2010. And again, the age now has changed from tier 2 to 3. Now it's age 62.
Okay.
So tier 4, you had to be enrolled 5/21 of 2010 and before June 28, 2011, and that's remained the same, age 62. And then we're into where the employees are now, getting higher currently. So tier 5 was enrolled June 28th, 2011, and again I said till present. So the age requirement has changed. For minimum is age now 65. So if you met them qualifications, you met your minimum age. Again, years didn't matter. You just had to meet the age, and they had the qualifiers of how you were determined what your compensation was going to be. There was a multiplier. So we get into what's also part of it. Now we get into the early retirement, and this is where it starts to get. This is where it starts to get a little tricky.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's went in a direction I feel should have been better. Because at the end of the day, as the newer employees like myself that was hired in 13, you'll as I discuss it, you'll see your option of 65. There is none. I mean, that is your option.
Yeah.
So under the early retirement, with 25 years of service in tier 1, and as long as you were over age 55, you're good.
You're good.
You're good. You're going to get your multiplier with, it was like 1/50th or 1/55th of yours times your years of service and your final 3 years of compensation. So they did the multiplier, and that's how it pretty much worked up until tiers 4 and 5.
Right.
So I'll get into, so it was 25 years, and if you're under the age of 55, and you still, if you did 25 years, but you're under age 55 in tier 1, any year before your 55th, your benefits were reduced 3% per month.
Okay.
Before your 55th birthday. Tier 2, again, they kept with the 25 years of service. This time they tell you this is where it differs from Tier 1 and 2. Tier 2, they said you could retire at 60, but if you go after your 55th, so between 55 and 60, if you're retired there because you didn't hit that minimum age 60, you're going to get hit 1% per month, or excuse me, 1% per year under your 60th birthday.
Okay.
So right off the bat, if you did your 25 years and wanted to go at age 55, you already took a 5% hit.
Wow.
You take a 5%
Yeah,
hit.
that's pretty significant.
So again, we know, I can go back to Tier 1, and there's still quite a few employees out there that are in the Tier 1. I mean, again, if the guy at 54 years old, he's 54 and he started at 20 years old, he's got his 34 years in the system.
Yeah.
So if he tries to go, I mean, he automatically loses 3% just
Yeah.
because he loses a year early.
Right.
Which you'll see as I discuss later in the other tiers. 3% is, I think a lot of people will take a 3% just to go that year early.
Yeah, yeah.
But you'll see where it gets different as I discuss. So again, if you go with the Tier 2, if you go before your 55th, again, you get hit with the 3%. I mean,
Right.
I think that's fair. They're telling you, they want you can't go before 55. If you do, but you meet your service, you're going to get a 3%
You get
hit.
whacked.
So Tier 3 says, again, the 25 years of service. Again, the age has changed to 62. So, they want you to go at age 62. So between age 55 and 62, if you go, it's 1% per year under that 62 to age 55.
Gotcha.
And again, you'll hit a 3% if it's under 55. Tier 4 is, again, 25 years of service with the age of 62. So they give you age 62 to 55, and it's the same as Tier 3, where once 1% between that age and then 3% under 55. The only difference is now your qualifier for your compensation, final compensation, goes from 3 years in Tier 1, 2, and 3, 3 years to your final.
Okay.
Tier 4 changed it to 5.
Okay.
So now we hit 5 years. So it's the cumulative of 5 previous years.
Gotcha.
And then we get into Tier 5, which is where anybody hired after 2011, pretty much that's where you're at right now. And it tells you 30 years of service.
Right.
That is an early retirement. You have to do 30 years.
Wow.
And if you're under the age of 65, there is no age 65 to 55, 1% now. If you're under age 65, it spells right out in the fact sheet. It's 3% off every year before your 65th.
Wow.
And I'll go into my case and scenarios. I bought back time. At age 59, I'll have 25 years of service in the pension system. And that wholeheartedly should qualify for a full retirement.
Right.
Under their standards, no, it's now 30 years.
Yeah.
At 64, I'll have 30 years. If I try to go at 64, right off the bat, I'm already at 3% hit.
Yep. 3% loss. Yeah.
Because I went before my 65th. I think, again, it's not the me. I'm not running for me.
Right.
But I only go into when an employee in the service I do, or in the firefighters, and I know there's quite a few of us, we give 25 years. We've given a lot.
Yeah.
We see and we do. EMTs do a lot. Dispatchers do a lot. You give 25 years to an employee, you were dedicated.
Yeah.
You were dedicated.
Yeah.
So I'm left right now, unless something changes. I'll work till I'm 65.
Yeah.
I want to, again, it's all about bearing that fruit. I want to bear the fruit of my retirement.
It's interesting too because we talk about it. I mean, granted, the makeup of PERS is more than firefighters, EMTs, and dispatchers. So this might not apply to all, but the job requirements that we have as firefighters and the one of the hot topics is not just the physicality of it, but the mental health aspect of it, all the stressors and the different traumatic events that we're faced with, and how that affects us on the mental health level. You can throw EMTs in there, you can throw dispatchers in there. That extending that career to a certain amount of time, 25, 30 plus years, because you are trying to reach an age requirement by the system so that you can get your full retirement without any deductions. It's really, I mean, it's something that I don't think that the board at PERS really kind of understands and grasps that concept
Yeah.
and knows that, you know.
Yes, and you know, I think it's important that they know. Listen, and we all know. Listen, there's inherent risk in every job
Sure,
title.
sure. That's not taken away from anybody else.
I will not sit here and tell you that a lady that does payroll or a man that does payroll in my city office, there's not an inherent risk that they could have a debilitating injury at work, because we all know accidents happen. I mean, they're not. We don't purposely go out and get hurt.
Right.
But accidents happen.
Right.
And you know, you may not be able to come back. So, you know, that's why I'll never. I don't want to put it just on that firefighter has more risks.
Sure.
Because that's not the case. Yes, we know predominantly we're going into environments that are subpar for human living. We know that. But again, I took the job. That was my choice. I'm giving. That's my way. I give back. So, and that goes right into, you know what it is if you can reach your retirement or you get to the early retirement. But another concern with the new pension reform is what happens if you get hurt. And I really like to let them know what will happen. What are your benefits if you are hurt per the tier ratings. And I think that's important because it is, as we discussed on an earlier podcast, it's eye-opening as to if you get hurt, and it doesn't matter if you're a clerk or if you're a DPW or you're an EMT. If you get hurt and then in tiers 4 or 5, you might not have anything.
Right.
So I mean, if time permits, I mean, I'd like to get into the fact sheet. It falls under the same SC 0853.
Right.
I'd like to get into what the disability, the different, the disability ordinary and the disability accidental. So under tiers, we're going to start with disability ordinary. Tiers 1, 2, and 3 ordinary, as per the fact sheet, it says if approved. And that's one of the things I'm going for. That's what the board does. We approve. The trustees approve. Approved as they're read. If approved, the annual benefit on an ordinary for tiers 1, 2, and 3 is 43.6% times the final average of 3 years' salary. That's pretty good. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, your PFRS is 40% on an ordinary. So PERS did pretty good on this system. Until you get to tier 4 and 5, and as the fact sheet will state, and as it states in our handbook, tier 4 ordinary, in bold, not available. PERS Tier 4 members may be eligible for long-term disability insurance. Okay. Tier 5, ordinary, bold print, not available.
Wow.
PERS Tier 5 members may be eligible for long-term disability insurance coverage.
Wow. So no pension, but you may be eligible for long-term disability insurance.
Maybe. So when you pull the fact sheet on that and you go to the addendum and you look at the tiers 4 and 5 on long-term disability, you see in there exactly as it states, you have to be disabled. And the sad thing is when you read the fact sheet, if you can be gainfully employed, whether I was a firefighter or I was an EMT, if I could be gainfully employed somewhere else within that municipality, forget about what job I was hired civil service leader to do, is now I can go do that. And I think that's sad. I think, you test for your position, you wholeheartedly were awarded that position, and you did a courageous act, and, whether you were a trash man and got hit by a car that somebody wasn't paying attention, and, you lose a limb but can't be a trash man, but yet you can go back and they can put you in the office and say you'll finish out your career here.
Right.
And I think that's wrong. I think that was another where the ball may have been dropped on that. So that was just under the ordinary. I mean, that's not involving you're in the physical performance of your job during the day. That this is outside of you're going to get coffee and you trip and fall and break your arm or do something extraordinary, and it's not pertaining to your specific at your desk or in the performance of being an EMT, because that falls under accidental
Sure.
or traumatic.
Yeah.
They're two different animals. So I can get into the accidental side under the tiers 1, 2, and 3. And again, it says if approved, the annual benefit is 72.7% times the annual salary at the time of the accident. Again, you'll confer with this. PERS did a good job on that one.
Yeah. PFRS is 66 2/3.
So I think, is it how that occurred? Listen, PERS did a good job on that. Somebody got a good benefit out of that. That was definitely good. So that was tiers 1, 2, and 3. Again, you'll see when we get into tiers 4 and 5, this is where it got pretty bad. And this is off the fact sheet. This is not made up. Tier 4, not available. Again, in bold print. TPAF 4, tier 4 members may be again, it doesn't say PERS. I went into the fact sheet. It only mentions TPAF. Now, the TPF may be eligible for long-term disability insurance coverage. And again, I'll put on here, no mention of PERS.
Yeah.
Tier 5, not available. TPAF, tier 5 members may be eligible for long-term disability insurance coverage. No mention of PERS. I did some searching on it, and when I went through the actuary report, it spells out TPAF is eligible for accidental disability. Regular PERS employees are not.
Wow.
Ordinary is it.
Wow.
I beg to differ as to the work that's involved on a TPF side compared to a DPW guy or a water utility guy that's down in the hole and it collapses on him. I beg to differ. I beg to differ the differences of what's an accidental to an ordinary.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not kicking back on the school system, the administrators and teachers. It's an inherent risk. That's your job. We know that they all have inherent risks. So again, as you can see under the accidental side or traumatic, the state, I think the system failed.
Yeah.
And that's the eye-opening to the employees because they didn't know that, they knew that there was a percentage they could get. But I said, you're absolutely correct. If you're a tier 1, 2, or 3, if you're a tier 4 or 5, or were hired between that 2011 till current or 2010 till current, chances are you may not get anything, or you may get something but reassigned to a new position outside of what you were intended to be hired for.
Right.
So that's where we stood with that. I pulled some other numbers on just the pure numbers as far as membership and what the health of the systems are. I could throw out numbers all day. I mean, again, this is off the actual reports. I pulled 2016, 17, and 18. It's all spelled out. I think at the end of the day is I'd like to just speak of what has occurred between the values of what the pensions are worth to what the enrollment went as far as the membership from that gap of 3 years.
Yeah.
So between 2016 and 2018, the contribution, what was put into the state police, it's 4 systems I'm going to talk about because of the 4 majors. It's state police retirement system, the police and fire retirement system, the teachers pension annuity fund, TPAF, and then PERS. So the state police retirement system gained in the 3 years, 16, 17, 18, 95,082,570. And their enrollment, they pulled up 148 new members in that realm. So the PFRS increase for the 3 years was.
Now that to stop you real quick, that 148, that is members that became part of the state police retirement system. So members joining active. Correct. Okay.
Yep. So just for people's knowledge, membership in 2016 was 22,746.
Right.
17 was 2,831.
Right.
And then in 18 was 2,894.
Right. Gives you
and
plus 148.
It was a plus 148. So the PFRS net was in the 3 years was $3,113,829,436. PFRS gained 1,577 new members.
Wow.
It's a good field to be in.
Yeah.
And I can only tell you the end result of the 2018 values of the PFRS, what it was worth, was $27,098,556,100.
Yeah.
And like I said, at that year, 2018, because the new report's not out, you had 40 PFRS had 43,613 members.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we start getting into the two big funds. Those that know that TPAF it doesn't have as many members as PERS, but you'll see we'll speak of the numbers. TPAF gained 273,253,873 in that 3-year span.
Yeah.
They also gained 1,331 employees.
Wow.
I think it's worthy when I talk about the PERS, and you'll see that there's definitely something going on. PERS in the 3 years gained 2,710,303,926. What's a little astounding here is the PERS members lost 4,633 members.
That's wow.
And that's not solely based on, that's not the retirement side. That's not solely based on retirement.
Right.
And I think we alluded to it before. Is it due to attrition?
Yeah.
Are we seeing multiple job titles included? A guy retires, he doesn't get replaced.
Yeah.
I think it's happening. I think we've seen it in all the municipalities.
Consolidation.
Yeah. So they were numbers, and like I said, they're. I will say that the end values for the on the PERS side and the 18 value was the pension was worth $29,472,374,536 with a total membership of 256,538.
Wow.
What needs to be said is, when you look at that 29 billion, I'm going to use the round numbers because they're easier to work with. So the PERS had 260,000 employees. The value of the pension plan was 29 billion. And when I compare it to the PFRS, its worth is 27 billion with only 43,000 employees. So the contrast of employee to money there, it's a stark difference.
Yeah,
it
huge.
is. And we need to figure out, and we need to work together, with legislation and the board members. And that's where I want to come in, is what can we do to make this a little bit better?
Yeah.
Is it going to be defunct? I don't know. If we keep on going with adding, well, right now we're losing employees.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I mean, that's a large number you read off before. For almost just about 4,600 members lost.
So
in a 3-year period.
We definitely and in closing, I mean, I think we've got to where. I've got some eyes raised. And I would like to end with, I have a couple things I'd like to talk about before we end. So the PERS pension system net position is well below other pension systems in terms of funding to membership, as I've shown. And these are on actuary reports; they're not hidden.
Yeah.
The PERS pension must maintain its continued financial obligations by municipalities, counties, and especially state government. What is amazing that while employees were never given a pass on pension payments, municipalities, counties, and states were given a break. One of the problems PERS has financially seen in past years is the state having its way with funds to offset money elsewhere in the state and to pay for properties where there was no benefit to the members whose contributions were used without any say. And I think that holds true for the PFRS.
Yeah.
We know it's happened.
Yep.
The state needs to leave the pension alone and allow the employees who have dedicated their lives day in and day out to their employment throughout the state, county, and municipalities to be able to enjoy the fruit of their labor in their retirement years. As hardworking and dedicated employees, we should be granted a retirement without thoughts of reduced benefits due to struggling system after we have met our obligations of making every payment on time. And I think that's big.
Yeah.
We've as well as I do, the only pension payment you don't have to pay is when you get that 5th pay period.
Right.
That's your only exclusion we've ever had.
Yeah.
And especially in the 6 years I've had, that's the only payment I have not made is when it's a 5th payment.
Right.
And we've known in the years, we know that, there's money pooled to offset other debts.
Yeah, it's been historically shown, throughout multiple administrations that's a past practice they follow, which is why the PFRS has we pushed hard and fought hard, and we were able to take that out of state control. And you know, if PERS is able to do something like that, I mean, I'm not sure if it's able to, but if that's something that's capable, then you know, I think you'll see a significant increase in the health of the fund.
And like I said, it's just not, you know, I don't want to wholeheartedly say it's just the state of New Jersey doing it, because we know
Sure.
Detroit's lost their pension.
Yeah.
We know these big cities have lost their pension system. We know we hear the Social Security, oh, it's not going to be there when you're 75, it's going to be gone. We know these pension funds. We know this stuff that's for the ones that's put in their years and at the time when they need it, you know, is being taken. We know that. We know that. How can we stop it, or what can we do?
Yeah.
And you'd hate to, you know, keep on taking from the employees. I don't, you know, you keep on taking from me. I mean, you're already reducing my, at the end of the day, paycheck I get at the end of the week anyway.
Right.
You know, we've lost our health benefits. Most of us now, you know, they didn't pay before I got the job as a firefighter, but I always hear the fellas around and other municipal employees talking about, we never had to pay health insurance. Well, the time's changed.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
We get it, and we're, you know, those that are willing to accept that, you know, we just ask that, you know, at the end of the day is when I put in my 30 years, if that's what I have to do, just make sure my payments are there.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yep.
That's all I want.
How can someone get in contact with you if they wanted to reach out to you?
So if you have any questions, you can contact me via email, and it's going to be, here's the email address is Phil, Phil, the number 4, PERS, PERS, @gmail.com.
Gotcha.
I appreciate you allowing me to come on.
Yeah,
here,
no,
Billy.
listen, thanks for talk. I mean, I hope that this reaches, you know, again, more PERS members outside of our association. You know, for you and for us, it's not a union thing. It's about the health of the PERS system, and you know, trying to do what's right by the members of PERS, because you know, it's as you alluded to earlier, it's in pretty rough shape, and there's definitely some things that could be changed that can make it healthier. So thanks for coming on and talking about it. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, Billy. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem.
Thank you.
You got it. All right, guys, thanks for listening to another great episode of FMBA Nation, and stay tuned for some more great content to come. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also listen on the NJ FMBA YouTube channel, as well as Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and the Google Play Store. And if you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the FMBA Nation podcast, please email us at nation@njfmba.org.